What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We're continuing in the run of running through particular NBA teams and the trades that they're going to do this offseason and what we think they should do. We're going to start. Well, this one is going to be about, as you can see on screen here, we're rebuilding the Philadelphia 76ers. One of these man might be cut and the other probably will be staying. But before we jump into that, as always, how are you two doing?
Yeah, not bad. It was incredibly humid yesterday, so not the greatest night's sleep, but ready to get stuck in. Your favourite team, obviously, so I'm hoping you got some juicy ones.
I do have one, but the thing with the Sixers, and actually, I didn't even, Louis, you didn't even let us know how you've been. Come on.
Yeah, fine. I'm just hoping this time around we don't get trades for the teams within sort of like a 24-hour span that we do it on. You know, we've done the Mavericks
that would be helpful.
Grant going over there, and they put in an offer for Matisse Fireball, but yeah, it was a very inconvenient timing, shall we say, from Mark Cuban. Well, I know he's not the GM, but he signs off on everything, so yeah, be a bit better. Who's the owner of the Sixers, actually?
It's some state-funded group. I don't actually know. It's probably some collective. I don't think it's one actual person. But Louis, let's not get bogged down on Philadelphia 76ers ownership. We all know that Embiid is the owner of the Sixers. That's all we need to know. And Embiid decides what happens in these trade scenarios. We will preface this by saying that I think all three of us can agree that it's pretty grim viewing for whatever Philly can do. Primarily because of what their offer sheets are, how much they're paying people, and what they've realistically got as flexible movements to move. Before we do jump into any of them, though, I think the ultimate question is, do you two think that James Harden is going to stay, or do you think he's going to sign and trade his way out of Philly and maybe like the Clippers and stuff like that that's been spoken about?
I'm not sure. I think Harden, if it was just up to him, I think he'd end up staying. I actually think Philly will probably want to trade him because even with their current team, they've got enough to be in with a shot of the title. I don't think they're the best team or even the second best team in the East with their current construction, so they'll probably want to try and do something. But for Harden himself, I don't really see a landing spot better than where he is now.
Yeah, I guess this kind of harkens back to, I think last year they may have promised him a certain amount of money, but more importantly, a certain amount of money over a period of time. He's getting on a bit now. I think it was like 4 years, 200 million that the Sixers may have reneged upon this offseason, which has probably, understandably annoyed him, I guess, but I don't think he can be too annoyed because though he had some great games in the playoffs, I think overall he's been pretty underwhelming for the Sixers, and I guess pretty underwhelming considering where he was a couple of years ago with the Rockets, and also that first year in Brooklyn he was really good as well. So I don't think he's done something to deserve a really long-term big money contract, and that's why they've maybe pulled the rug from under him a little bit, which is I guess it must hurt double that it was Daryl Morey who's the GM or the president, should I say, of that team, and the close relationship that they have. But yeah, I'm not sure what his value is in here. This is what kind of affected me trying to prepare trades for this one, because you can look at it from a perspective of he was. I know he didn't make the All-Star game last year, but he was really good in the regular season. Yada yada yada. Former MVP, but I just don't think he's the same player he was, and also he doesn't really take great care of his body, which doesn't give you a great deal of faith in him moving forward. And then you've got the playoff concerns, all of that type of stuff. So it's a complicated one. I think it's likely that he'll be signed and trade, but I do think it might take a while longer, which is why I'm hopeful we won't get a surprise Woj bomb after this, because Daryl was pretty patient when it came to Ben Simmons, and I think he got the best out of that scenario. They were offering sort of CJ McCollum's type of thing before, and then they got James Harden from that, which I think was a good outcome for them, even if it hasn't gone quite well. So I think he'll follow the patient template, shall we say. But yeah, they could go into this season very theoretically with these guys still on the team, but I think it might be he'll be gone sooner or later.
Yeah, the way I see it, I think Harden is going to have a sign and trade deal out. The likely ones that are being spouted are obviously with the Clippers and potentially Paul George moving on and it being in a third team trade, and so on and so forth. But I've got a trade where I'm assuming Harden leaves, and I have a trade where I'm assuming Harden stays. So that's how I went into it. I'll kick us off, and I'll move into my one. And now there's a lot of these trades. Obviously, when we do these videos, we have to take a lot of inspiration from other sort of scenarios, and we're looking at what people think trades can happen and realistically how they match up in terms of on the financial side of things, and also with picks and where teams are going to be in their trajectory if they're looking to win or looking to rebuild. The one that I've done, the first one, is assuming that James Harden is going to leave, but it then also puts the Sixers in a different scenario of how I would imagine them to start their starting five. Now I'm going to take your initial impacts and your facial reactions off of this one here. So I'll preface this. It is a Sixers Charlotte Hornets trade.
I've seen this one, I think I've seen
I've made it myself. I've not seen anything.
Okay. Well then, I've made
this myself. So I'm going to see how you feel, and we're going to go. So I'm going to put it on the screen now. So, Scary Terry and Kelly Oubre Jr. for Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker, and a first-round pick. Kelly Oubre Jr. on a sign and trade deal here. The way I see this, you get rid of the Tobias Harris contract. It gives you a bit more cap space for Philly to move, because they are going to need to sign someone else in this trade. But I think Terry Rozier would be an excellent addition to the Sixers. And I do quite like Kelly Oubre Jr. The only concern with him is he cannot stay healthy to save his life at the moment. But initial thoughts.
I mean, I don't think it makes the Sixers any better, I'll be honest. So
you don't think it moves the needle at all?
No.
Well, it's kind of dependent.
Go on, there you go.
I was just going to say it's kind of dependent on who they use that extra cap space for, I guess. But I agree in a vacuum. Yeah.
Damn.
I don't mind Tobias Harris. I just think he earns too much money. That's my main
that's
take
the thing
on
with
it.
The trades, there is no value realistically on Tobias Harris. The way you can get around it is you're freeing yourself of that 40 mil where you can get a little bit deeper or improve one or two more areas for it. And that's how I saw this.
So I mean, that's basically it, as you say. It's what they do after it. But as Louis says, I still think Tobias Harris is obviously a good NBA player, and I do like what PJ Tucker offers to the Sixers. I think his mentality and his toughness is something that the Sixers actually really need. And I think someone like Embiid really benefits from having a PJ Tucker on the team.
Yeah, as opposed to Oubre, who won't be around very often. I don't mind Terry. I mean, I haven't really watched Terry, I would say, in a couple of years now. He's a sort of your microwave off the bench scorer, I'm guessing here. Are you starting Terry Rozier? And he's earning a lot of money.
Well, the thing with this is afterwards on this trade, you've now got 17 million cap space freed up, and there'll be a bit more to play with from the Sixers side of things. So then the way I was looking at it is you can look to go and get another primary ball handler, or potentially look at getting another one of those sort of bigger power forward wings that you can get in, because Kelly Oubre Jr. is not going to be playing at the 4, he'll be playing at the 2 and the 3. So you are going to be missing that 4. And there are quite a few 4s on the market, I'd say, and that's where Philly can then make a move with picks and assets.
How many years has Tobias got left on his contract? Out of interest,
so
1 year. Is it 1 year?
Yeah, 1 year, I think. Let me just double check.
I wouldn't mind eating that contract for a year, but it depends on the type of team that you are. If I'm quite honest, if you're kind of close to contention, I feel like Tobias Harris is the kind of guy that can push you over a little bit. It's just we talked about this before. When he's forced into a position of second best player, maybe that's a bit too much of a stretch for him. I know he's the third best player on this team, and he still seems a bit out of place at points. But he's a good defender. He can score. He's a good shooter. He's a good all-round player. He's just maybe on a higher end of a role player, but then sort of like all-star, which is what he's getting paid.
This is the issue with it, though. Is I don't think anyone's saying that he's not a good NBA player and that he's a bum or anything like that. But for Philly, they have to change something. You're not going to lose Embiid. You're not going to do anything else around any of the other guys. Tobias Harris realistically is your sticking point to making any movements. So you're not going to get much trade value back for him because he's on that 40 mil for that 1 year. That's the issue with it. And if they're going to make the move this year, they have to pay the price for it.
Well, they value him quite highly, don't they? Because there was that talk of that Cleveland Cavaliers trade where they wanted like Jared Allen and Evan Mobley as well. So that I guess maybe that's just that's all possible. And at the end of the day, I'm sure if they offered Evan Mobley straight up and some salary filler, they are going to accept that. But it's just interesting, isn't it? Because in my head, yeah, for years Tobias Harris has been a rubbish contract, and it's because he is one of those guys who's not an all-star player, but he's getting paid like an all-star, and those are the worst contracts. If you got a guy who's earning like a lot of money, who's an all-star, that's fine, but he's just sort of on the verge of that. If I'm being generous as well.
I think it's worse because of when the timings happened on this contract, but it's very similar to the Jeremy Grant contract that's just been signed.
Yeah,
I'd say.
yeah.
This is worse because this contract was earning him 39 million 5 years ago, whereas the Jeremy Grant one's earning him 30 million in 5 years' time. So it's completely different because of the cap rates that are moving. So this contract is worse, but it is in that elk, is what I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and there's also the whole Jimmy Butler scenario with it as well that came.
Yes.
That probably tints it a little bit more. I'm of the opinion that that's not. They didn't choose to pay Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler. That's not what happened. But
I think that they maybe try to focus on both of them at the same time or something, but they did whatever in any way they insulted Jimmy Butler. No one will truly know. But the other trade that I had, and this is where I'm not sure on his value anymore, realistically, because again of the 1 year that he has. This is under the assumption that James Harden stays in Philly. And again, I'm going to take your reactions. Tobias Harris to the Raptors, and the Sixers get Siakam back, but the Sixers sending over a first round and second round pick. I can't judge how many picks you'd need in return for this one, but I'm not sure it'd be a bucket load, primarily because he's got the 1 year left. So it's then dependent on where the Raptors are going to go for this, because obviously they're going to be in a different stage. Are they going to want Tobias Harris? So you're going to have to either get a third team involved or add a bit more collateral on in terms of picks. But where would you see this one moving the needle? Because I think this improves the Sixers. If Harden stays and they swapped out Harris for Siakam, I see this as an improvement.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's just I think the Raptors would ask for more. I'm pretty sure the Raptors ask for more.
But where's his value then? I know it's a first round and a second round, so it's not like it's an insult. But
it's just from what I've seen from Siakam trades with other teams and how much, just off public perception, because obviously we don't know what the Raptors are really asking for him, so it's just off what the public have made. And I think, you'd need more than one first to do that trade, I think.
Yeah, probably as well. It's hard for me to know how much to value firsts at this stage because, like a couple of years ago when Anthony Davis got traded, when Paul George got traded, it just kind of threw everything out. Well, I mean, Rudy Gobert as well, you've got that one. It kind of just throws everything out. Yeah, I'm taking out of account Rudy Gobert, but it's just difficult. I mean, in general, in principle, if you had a couple more picks, I do quite like this trade because then you could also flip Tobias Harris for someone else, I think, when it gets closer to the trade deadline because... the Raptors aren't going to be trying to win. They're going to be they've got a developmental coach. They hired a developmental coach. They've got, they've got young players there that they need to develop a bit more. Scotty Barnes, stuff like that. So Grady Dick as well. That's their draft pick from this year. Yeah. So I do quite like this, and I do think it does make the Sixers better. I'm not sure it elevates them to sort of like call their real title contenders. But in any case, I like the principle of it, definitely. And more so than I think I've got on my trade ideas, if I'm honest.
I think the idea on it, though, is that I don't think there is a trade out there. And I don't think any GM in the world can find a trade out there that would make the Sixers become unbelievable title contenders instantly. I think this season's roster that they had will be a better shot than what they're going to produce for next season. I do think that. And then that's where they're going to have to build from it. They're going to have to sell that idea to Embiid, who I don't think is going to push for trades. I don't see that happening. So then that's the sort of predicament that you've got. I mean, there was a trade that I saw for the Memphis Grizzlies landing Pascal Siakam, and it was with I think it might have been with the Grizzlies and the Raptors. I think it was only a two-team trade, and that involved 3 first-round picks for Siakam and like Luke Kennard and something else.
Siakam's
I think 3 firsts is a lot for Siakam. I can't lie.
So do I. In my head, so do I as well. It's hard for me with Siakam because sometimes I think he's really, really good, and sometimes I think, this guy. Like I think you get caught up in the whole spinning type of meme and all that. That's a couple of years ago now, but I do think he's just kind of a hot and cold player, and he's more sort of designed to be a second best or a third best even. And he would be in this scenario, and he can provide a bit of scoring assistance. That him and Embiid fit. Interesting, I guess, because I don't think Siakam's like your natural sort of like floor spacer. I know he can knock down shots, but to me, he's always better when he's sort of posting up or driving to the basket. I know they're pretty good friends, which is an interesting wrinkle to that. So yeah, I quite like it. I do quite like it. It's one of the better scenarios, I think, for the Sixers, really.
Yeah, it's one of the better players available, but as I say, you just have to give up more picks for him, especially because it's the Sixers as well. So the first you're getting back are probably not going to be.
I honestly think Tobias Harris is a contract I'm fine with taking. I honestly do feel like that. I feel like he has got trade value in the last year of his contract, and I think teams would want him. I do think that.
The only other one that I saw, and I didn't put it on here, was a trade between the Sixers and the Pacers that involved the Sixers getting Buddy Hield and the Pacers getting Tobias Harris, and something along those lines there.
Yeah.
Because on the premise of, and if you've got that there, let's build this out. So what was it? How's
let me get it up. Sorry. So the Sixers would get Buddy Hield and a 2023 first round pick via Boston. Because in this scenario, I do think the Pacers are getting the better player, if I'm honest.
Right. 2023
via Boston. It might be via Miami. I don't know. One of the two. 2023. Whatever.
It's not there.
No, that would have been before. That would have been before the draft. Actually, yeah, you're not wrong. Okay,
it's not there. First round pick.
Yeah. And then the Pacers would get Tobias Harris and Jaden Springer.
Jerry Springer.
Who I must admit, failed. Okay, it's probably going to be
It's just trade value coming back in from Tobias Harris is all it is. So they'll have to have some salary.
Okay, that's fair. But I do think the Pacers are in an interesting place right now, especially coming out of free agency, given that they spent so heavily on Bruce Brown, who, congratulations on getting the bag.
Yeah,
have to applaud it. Can't lie. And I think they do have a pretty decent team. Obviously, Tyrese Halliburton got his big max dollar contract. Obi Toppin, they traded for him as well. So I do think they're in a win now mode, not to the certain extent of like they're going for a championship or anything, but they're going to be trying to make the playoffs.
They've got a core team now. When you think of it, like if we get rid of this trade for it, Bruce Brown, Miles Turner, Benedict Matherin's no scrub, Tyrese Halliburton.
Would TJ McConnell make this trade work? Because I quite back to the Sixers. I don't mind that.
No, still a little bit more.
I don't think the Pacers would do that trade, by the way.
You want to take that? Maybe not as much as they're given there.
Yeah, I don't see him doing. I'm not even sure even if you can make it where they do Buddy Hield in the first round for him.
You don't think they do Buddy Hield in the first round pick for
Tobias Harris? For Tobias Harris? No, I think there are other teams that would be interested in Buddy Hield that they could get a better package out of. None spring to mind.
I do agree. I do think his trade value would be a little bit better.
Yeah,
but it's more of for the season that they've got. I think now when you're looking at where Buddy Hield's going to fit in, he'll probably be coming off the bench more often than not, which is what ended up happening for him towards the latter end of the season anyway. Because I think they're going to give more. They'll lean more on Bruce Brown. Andrew Nembhard's still going to get a bigger role in this team next year because he had a good rookie season. Benedict Mathurin, the same thing. Yeah, like they've got nice little pieces in those 1 and 2 positions and at the 3. So I think Buddy Hield is going to find himself in that 6 move. So they're going to try and look for someone as a stronger wing. So Tobias Harris could be a better fit for their starting 5.
I mean, I also don't think this trade.
I just don't think. Yeah, I can't see him doing a pick and Buddy Hield for Tobias Harris. I don't think they'd be happy.
What do you think the max you could get for a Buddy Hield is? I mean, we're not doing the Buddy Hield trade episode. Don't get me wrong.
Once again, I'd have to go and have a look and see what works. It's hard to with all these trades. Like you can't just throw them in the air because there's so much you have to match up.
Buddy Hield might be replacing John Collins in the shop window Olympics at this stage.
Yes. Definitely good. He definitely good. Right, Howard, run us through the trade you got.
I'm going to leave the Tobias Harris stuff where it is because I think we've given as much as we can over what you could really get from him because it got to the point where I was looking at a truly sickening Gordon Hayward trade for him. And at that point I realised, okay, this is run its course. No more of this. So I'll throw one out there. I'll say the players, and then I'll see how you feel about how many picks maybe, or what pick? Because there's only a second in this one.
I need.
I'll
teams
just
first.
say it.
Teams
Yeah, I'll just
first.
say it anyway. All right, so it's the 76ers and the Raptors again.
Okay.
So the 76ers get OG Anunoby, Thaddeus Young, and Otto Porter Jr. And then in this, the Raptors get James Harden and a second-round pick via New York, which I can't remember if that's gone in the draft or not. I don't think it would.
There's no way.
The reason I said it is because I didn't think the Raptors would do it, which is why I was talking about the picks and maybe saying, is there any way you think adding a few more picks would make it more appealing to them, or do you just think they're in a different mode of or a different era of their franchise where they don't want to take a player like James Harden?
Am I thinking of the wrong trade here, or was the Raptors not asking for like 5 first-round picks for Anunoby?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, they were. So this is I knew a second obviously isn't going to do this. This was 100% made by a Philly fan. But is there a certain level of picks you would add on where you think there could be an amicable solution for the two of them? Because when I look at the players, it would obviously depend on what the Raptors want to do going forward. Because if they don't want to, try and compete, then they're obviously not going to take this James Harden off. But if they are, then I don't think the balance is too bad, considering what you could add on to it.
The thing with this, and I think this is also a little bit similar to what you said about Buddy Hield, I think there's going to be multiple teams that would be very interested in acquiring Anunoby, primarily because of how good of a 3&D player. Like his 3&D alone, he's one of the best in the league. So I think you're going to, for this sort of situation, what does James Harden do for Toronto? I don't know how much necessarily they care. So they're going to need to put, I'd say in this sort of scenario, you're looking at another at least 2 or 3 first rounds.
Yeah, I'd agree with 2. So 2 probably would be.
Just to get this on record, or like, I guess on a level playing field here, are we saying that OG Anunoby has a higher trade value than James Harden? Because I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm kind of on that side of the fence actually at this stage, because the value is just not with Harden at the minute.
Yeah, it depends on the franchise, I think. But even with that being included, I still think I'd probably side with the OG Anunoby side.
Yeah, I think you could assimilate OG in quite a few different teams. Obviously, Harden needs the ball. It's just easier to have OG on your team, I feel like, at this stage.
The other thing
factor in age,
and I also like Thad Young as well, and maybe Otto Porter. But
the other thing with it is, if you're looking at sort of winning now, which I hate the term because it's used too much, but you've got him for this contract of next year. He's only on 18. He's going to decline this 19 million. There's no way about it. Like, he will decline that and get paid, right? So you're going to have him on that 1 year with that 18 million. So if you're going to look to win for next season, that contract is unbelievably valuable to you.
Yep.
Yeah. I think he's worth a lot personally.
Yeah, so do I. Which is why I was talking about the picks before I said it, because obviously the second wouldn't be enough. It's just hard when I look at destinations for Harden. Like, I know the Clippers one gets thrown around a lot. Obviously Paul George being the one that the Sixers would target, but I just don't see why the Clippers would trade for Harden, because it'd be linking up with him and Russ again. I just don't like the fit. Yeah,
I forgot about that little wrinkle to add to. I also don't think Paul George and James Harden, that's a tricky one. It really is, I guess. The Clippers ones I've seen haven't included Paul George and getting like Norm Powell in there and Marcus Morris is absolutely no value. I like Norm Powell, but the fact that is being floated as like an idea, it kind of set the benchmark for me on how other teams would pay for him. I don't think that Daryl's going to win this trade as much as he may have done in the past.
The thing with it though is Daryl Morey has a distinct act of he doesn't panic. He will sit on this and make it awkwardly uncomfortable for a while until he gets something that he actually doesn't mind doing. So they're not going to panic and just take scraps and just so they get some form of value back. I don't think it's going to be amazing, but I don't think it's going to be horrendous.
No. Well, he did do that for Ben Simmons. You're not wrong. I still think he may have got off pretty easy for that Russell Westbrook trade they made back in the day with Chris Paul going to OKC and the amount of picks they gave up for that. But that was purely a directed Harden, like, if you don't get this guy, I'm probably going to leave type of thing. So I think he can bow to player pressure. So if Joel Embiid's like, oh, come on, we need to resolve this right now, maybe that would influence things a bit, but I don't think he's going to do that. Like you said, I don't think he demands trades. You know, he was pretty happy sitting on the Ben Simmons type of thing for a while. Kind of improved his MVP shot at that stage, so I guess that may be why. But yeah,
there is and just from my last 2 cents before we end this, and we move on to a little fun tier list that we might do just to spice things up for the offseason. But the two players that, and I know they're extremely unlikely to land in Philly, but they would have to have 3-team trades involved. But I'd love to see Mikal Bridges at the Sixers in any way, shape, or form.
I'm sure you would, mate.
That would be the ultimate one for it. I know obviously you can't move Harden back to Brooklyn. They're not going to do that. I don't think they're going to take Tobias Harris in any form of trade for that. But Mikal Bridges would be unbelievable, and that's like the one that I'd really like. But it's never going to
drafted him a couple of years ago. Well, they did draft him. They traded him to the Suns.
It's never going to happen. But that's the trade that I'd really like to see.
Yeah, kind of the perfect guy. If you'd have been sitting pretty with Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, Mikal Bridges right now, it's not that bad.
Yeah, you're very excited for the upcoming if you've got that going. Do either of you any other trades?
I've got one more. If you want to do it, this is with the. This is with the Miami Heat. So this would be the Sixers would be getting Kyle Lowry. Sorry, I'll let you go up to it first.
Yeah, it's just not refreshed because it plays about a bit. Right, Sixers and the Heat.
Yeah. The Sixers would get Kyle Lowry, who wasn't that bad in the playoffs last year. Caleb Martin, who also wasn't that bad in the playoffs last year.
Not bad, yeah.
A 2027 round 1 and a 2029 round 1 for James Harden, which I think's actually quite favourable on the Philly side, maybe. But they get their star. They're probably not going to get. I don't think they're going to get Dame. This is my.
You don't think Miami are going to get Dame?
No, I don't think so. I think the Trailblazers are pretty. They're like, we're not just going to trade you to your favourite destination. We want to get the best package. And apparently now there's all this sort of thing like his agent's been ringing around saying he'll only go to Miami. He's a guy who likes playing basketball, and I can't see that happening personally. I don't think he'd screw over the Trailblazers, but you never know. I just don't think the Heat have a great package for Damian Lillard, although we discussed that a couple of points ago. But yeah,
I don't think this is a bad deal at all. As well, I can't lie.
No, it's not. It's very good. I think it's quite favourable on the Sixers side of things.
It is. For what's been
floated, picks. Yeah.
For what's been floated, Caleb Martin is by no means a scrub, and the contract's very, very good. Kyle Lowry, all right, he's 37, only 30 mil, but you can swallow it for a year.
Yeah.
It's if you sell that to Joel Embiid of like, yeah, all right, we'll run it back this year with Lowry. Caleb Martin's a nice piece, and then you've got 2 first rounds to attack next year. We don't have Tobias Harris on our books, then it's a different story. So
yeah. Maxey get better, maybe you can pitch that. Oh yeah,
Maxey's going to be getting paid
next year.
Yeah. Maxey's going to be getting paid. There's no two ways about that. But yeah,
yeah. I think the main thing that we've taken out of what we've proposed so far is what you said earlier, George, which is I think the best case is you make decisions this year where you can put yourself in a position. Not this season, but next season, where you can really maybe go into the season being potentially the best team in the East or one of the top 2, because I don't, looking at what could be done, unless Philly were to like do the most ridiculous overpay you've ever seen, I can't really see how they push their team to be alongside Boston and Milwaukee at the moment. I just think those 2 teams are better than anything the Sixers could feasibly do right now. Obviously, they'll still be able to compete with the roster that they've currently got. I just don't think they'd beat either of those 2 teams in the playoffs.
I will say as well about saving cap space for next year's free agency class. Tobias Harris is one of the better free agents of next year anyway. You got Siakam, Buddy Hield, Jaylen Brown at the minute anyway. We'll see when they
Jaylen Brown's not going to be.
Yeah, exactly. Klay Thompson, who's kind of maybe that's a discussion for another day. So you know,
if Draymond Green's getting paid, if Draymond Green's getting paid, Klay Thompson.
I don't think so. I think he'll swallow a smaller deal. I do think so.
Oh, right, okay.
So,
but yeah, he's staying with the Warriors is more the point. Yeah,
it's very much a case of the fact that you could be letting go Tobias. I feel like they might re-sign Tobias Harris next year. If I'm honest. Looking at that. I mean, just as an exercise, I don't think the free agency classes are getting much better. 2024,
right?
We're looking up there.
Okay, well, that's going to do us for the trades. But because we're in the off season, we thought we're going to bring back an old archetype of here on the Swimman podcast. Back in the day, we used to do some tier lists that were random and completely irrelevant to basketball. So if you don't care about it, you can click off the video now. We're going to do one every time, and it's going to be responsible for it. This was my one, and I've gone for the age-old classic. UK soft drinks tier list. That's what we're going to go for. It's not got everything on there, but we're going to rank it from here. So we've got the GOAT, and I'd say we try and limit to a maximum of 3 that go in here. Right?
Well, I always think you should go for a nice bell curve whenever it comes to tier lists or things like these, and make sure that you've got. Yeah, exactly. A nice normal distribution. So limit the top and the bottom. Put the majority in that B tier, and then a few more in the A and C. Keep it nice and aesthetically pleasing.
I can't lie, I have not had half of these drinks.
Right, we'll see how we go. So Tizer is the first one here, and I believe Tizer is like a fruity. It's like a round. I think I've had it once in my life.
Yeah, I've had Tizer before.
Shop. But I'm going to put it C. Is where my vote would be. Would you two argue with that?
It's all right, but it's I'd drink it. It's in the lower tier.
I've never had it. I can't pass judgment.
Okay, J2O Orange for me is an instant A. I don't know how you feel.
I quite like J2O.
Yeah, I like J2O. That's not my favourite J2O.
Is J2O an American thing? Do you think you could get that?
Nah, definitely.
I literally have no idea. So
Brit Vicker who make it, I think that's the one. 7-Up. Are you a 7-Up or Sprite kind of guy? That's where we're going.
Sprite personally. Lemon and lime. Yeah.
I think American Sprite's better than UK Sprite from my one experience. Well, my couple of experiences out there in the States. You got some good Sprites over there. I'm a Sprite guy as well. I'm gonna whatever it has to be in 7-Up Sprite has to be one higher. Shall we say that?
Yeah. See, but would I ever put Sprite as an A? I don't think I would.
So it's got to be C, isn't it?
It's got to be C. It's got to be C.
Yeah, put it in C. We can come back and have a look after.
We'll throw Sprite and B just as the argument for that sake. Pepsi Cherry, is that? I think that's Pepsi Cherry, yeah. I am a Coke guy. I am a Coke guy over a Pepsi guy all day long.
So am I.
I will stand on that.
So am I, but I will say I do quite like Pepsi Max Cherry actually, so I'd put it in B.
I would choose a Pepsi Cherry over a 7-Up or a Tizer, so I will put it in B. Classic Coke, full fat Coke has got to be in the go.
I'm in high agreement.
I can accept it. I personally wouldn't, because I can see a couple things that I would have over Coke down the bottom, so I would put Coke in A.
Down the bottom, we can't be talking about the one I'm thinking about, but yeah.
Well, no. I'm just looking at the entire list.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Coke Cherry, there is an elite cult fandom for Coke Cherry.
Right. So
I don't get
cherry
guy.
I don't get on board with the Coke Cherry hype as much.
What I was saying before, so I would pick a Coke Cherry over a Coke personally. So that's one of the reasons why I wouldn't put Coke in GOAT. I can understand the heritage of Coke putting it in GOAT, which is why I can accept it. But
it's got
for
a proper passion story about it.
If Coke was going in GOAT, I'd put Coke Cherry in GOAT as well. That's the issue.
The thing that I think as well we have to note is the serving containers that these come in. A Coke in a glass bottle, there is nothing better, and I will die on that hill. There is nothing better than that.
I mean, there's a lot better, but sure.
What, fizzy
I mean,
drinks?
In terms of fizzy drink format, I think he's
drinks,
talking about.
Yeah, but
not
in life, there's a lot of things better than a Coke in a glass bottle.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a gross.
He's not talking your syrup in.
This might be. I'm looking at how many's left. This might be longer than the actual podcast coming in.
It could be. Anyway, well, our resident cream soda stan is Lewis Howard here, so we're going to ask you, where would you put a cream soda?
I like it. I wouldn't say I'm a resident stan.
Is cream soda an American thing as well? Cream soda's surely in America.
Yeah, but it's far more decadent, let's say, in America than it is here. We've got the little.
Well, most of these drinks will probably be nicer in America.
Yeah, but theirs is like the proper. Well, I say this like I'm bloody American. Like a proper diner cream soda is very different to the cans that we get. But
yeah,
I don't mind cream soda. I think
C tier definitely.
I would have it C. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll throw it
We
in
need to
C.
be a bit harsher going. And,
I don't think I've ever seen a Dr Pepper diet in my life. I can't lie. I've
No,
never
I
seen a
I
diet version
don't
of
think
it.
I have either.
So
I
why do I
like
do? I'd
Dr.
rather
Pepper.
drink dishwasher.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm going to put Dr Pepper. I think we'll talk about the original Dr Pepper now. I'd have the original Dr Pepper B or A personally.
I'd have Dr Pepper and go. I can't lie. I really like Dr Pepper. The cherry flavored drinks are just really.
See, see, you're not wrong. To be fair, I'm picking a Dr Pepper over a Coke Cherry all day long.
Yeah.
If they're next to each other, I'm picking.
have either.
I think Coke Cherry should be moved down, if I'm honest. Personally.
Look at Lewis.
I mean, I obviously wouldn't. Well, I just think, do you really like Coke Cherry that much worse than a regular Coke? Like, it's different. It's not
100% I do. I would. There was many variations of Coke.
When you start messing about with the flavouring that goes with it, like Coke Vanilla, and we'll talk about Coke Vanilla. Where are we putting Coke Vanilla? Coke Vanilla is too sick.
Coke Vanilla is worse than Cherry.
Yeah, see,
I'd put it on the same tier as. I'd put it on the same tier as Cherry, personally.
Really?
All right, okay. Dandelion and Burdock again. This has got a cult following, but I can't say I've ever had it.
I've never had it either, so you might as well just leave it off. To be honest, I could imagine
we have to put it there. We have to.
Well, so the issue is though, the problem is if you just try and guess, because as you say, I've never had a diet Dr Pepper. I'm pretty confident I would like a diet Dr Pepper more than anything in C tier.
Yeah,
even though I've never had it.
Let me change this to just D. So instead of it saying drink dishwater, because then that's a bit much.
Well,
but...
the issue is I still wouldn't put it in D though, because I've never had it, so I can't. You might as well change the last one to not drunk before or something.
Not had, shameful cop out.
Yeah.
This is
Or maybe
we'll put these two in there. I don't think I've ever had a pink J2O.
Neither have I.
Is that the apple and raspberry one?
It might be. Actually, you might be right. It could be.
Because I'm not gonna lie, that's my favourite J2O, so I'd happily put that in.
I'd never pick anything over the orange. The orange is goat tier for me.
Oh, I would pick that over the orange. So.
Louis,
it's probably
A or B?
I'll put in B, definitely.
Right, B. Tango Orange.
I like Tango Orange.
Yeah, I like Tango.
I'm going to listen to you two first.
I like Tango, but Fanta's better. That's my issue with it. I'd put Tango in B. It's still nice though.
Yeah.
Tango's solid.
We don't even have any variations of Tango. We don't have Tango Apple in here, which is another.
I would have Tango in C quite comfortably. I think it is far too tart as an orange drink. I much prefer Fanta. I would personally have it in C, but do you two want it in B?
Well, the one thing I'd say is I would currently drink everything in B over a Tango, so I'm quite happy to put it in C. But
fair.
I'd drink it over everything in C as well, so it's kind of in between.
Diet Coke for me is almost better than regular Coke. I think.
I agree, actually.
And Diet Coke in a can is almost up there with full fat Coke in a glass bottle. And if you don't know, get to know. But where are you? So if me and Louis are both saying this, how are you feeling with Diet Coke?
I mean, I just think Diet Coke's slightly worse than regular Coke, to be honest. It tastes.
I think A's fine.
Similar.
I can live with it being in A. Coke Life.
This one?
Coke Life. I've seen an advert for it 4 years ago of like a green bubble floating around. I don't think it's the one that's caffeine free, because that's Coke that's gold, I believe. But I've got no idea what Coke Life is. Have either of you
I've
had
never
it
had
whilst
it.
I Google it?
No, I've never had it.
Coca-Cola Life is a reduced calorie version of Coke made using stevia and sugar and other sweeteners as opposed to sugar. So
right.
It's mainly released in Argentina and Chile and then came to the UK apparently.
I've never had it, so it's got to be on the not had one.
Not had. Rubicon Mango. I can answer that.
Rubicon Mango's rubbish, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, that's the bottom of C.
If we had another tier, I would put it in that tier.
Wow.
It actually, do you know what?
Maybe we do need a bad one, I do think. I don't mind Rubicon though, but
we'll put it in there. Awful. I think Rubicon Mango. In their head, people are like, Rubicon Mango, I'd like that. And then they try it. It's disgusting.
Yeah. I think what makes it worse for me is in my old job, I had to put out a lot of Rubicons in the day, and one of them had just like spilled everywhere one time, and it was all sticky and like flies everywhere.
You've got Rubicon PTSD, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Fanta Orange.
No, there's too many Fanta flavors I like over Fanta Orange. If Fanta Lemon was on this list, it would be in go.
I also prefer other Fanta flavors personally.
Yeah,
Fanta Fruit Twist and Fanta Lemon are good, well. But you disrespect. This is the.
You're going off of.
Yeah, you can't do heritage with drinks. Come on, just put it in.
Disgraceful. Vimto Fizzy. Shout out to Sam Longhurst, or Longhurst Live, as you may know him. I don't believe he is a fan of the Fizzy.
No, he's not.
I think he's more like just regular that he has hot, which is very bizarre.
It is strange.
Where we put him, but let's just put Vimto as a whole, and we'll address this to Sam. Where are you putting it on the list?
It's a C. It's a C. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's a C. I don't mind Vimto. I never really buy it.
It's way too sweet. Way too.
Right,
it's just like overpoweringly sweet.
I'm gonna cause some controversy here. I feel this form of Lucasade as the original orange Lucas, not because there are two, granted. The Lucasade orange in a can.
I'm not sure I've ever had.
I haven't had it in a can either.
I'm not sure I've ever seen it in a can before until now.
Yeah, we have a friend outside of this who used to absolutely down Lucasade on the regulars back when we were in our school days. But I think Lucasade Orange Fizzy is actually terrible.
I really like it, actually.
You
get a craving for.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it more than that as well. So we're going to be moving out because Louis likes it.
The Lucasade Fizzy, the apple one, slaps. The orange one, I thought, is just such a letdown.
You know, I'm not having Lucasade Fizzy on the regular. Is you get a certain craving for it. I remember coming home from a football game once.
It can't be B tier. It cannot.
I'd put it in C. I'd put it in C. It's better than awful. I'd definitely have it over a Rubicon.
The thing is, I'd have a 7-Up over all of these though. So should 7-Up then? I don't know. Right. But 7-Up's got to be below Sprite. Yeah, you're right.
On Lucasade Orange, went to a football game once. I was coming back. I had a certain popular drink I will not name, which made me thirstier than I was originally before. And Lucasade Orange saved my life. If I'm quite honest.
Is that what you're landing on? Right, okay.
Yeah.
Coke Zero, I feel I would put B.
I don't like Coke Zero. I don't know why. I much more just like it than Diet Coke. I just do.
If you had a Diet Coke or a Coke Zero,
it's different. Different. 100%.
It's different. You can tell. You
can't go there.
It's not massive. No, I'll put it in B.
It's got to be B. All the Cokes have got to be B. Ribena Sparkling, is that? I've never had that.
Never had that. Yeah.
Never had that. I've seen Ribena in the bottles, but I've never had that. And Howard, you are one for Ribenas. You are the Ribena king.
Well, I used to when I was a kid. Yeah. Yeah. When I was a kid, I used to have a bunch.
Mountain Dew. What are we saying?
Mountain Dew. I tell you what, Mountain Dew in America is very different to Mountain Dew.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? It's good. Yeah.
A ton more sweeteners in it in America, and it's much nicer over there.
Yeah, I think it's
I know
C,
I'm putting it, but C.
I'd be
I
happy
don't think
with
it's better
C
than
or
7-Up. I don't think it's better than
C
7-Up.
or B.
Yeah, you're not right. You're not right. You're not wrong, actually. Regular Pepsi.
I like Pepsi.
Solid B. I'd say solid B.
I think so.
I
think so.
I like Pepsi.
And a Diet Pepsi, I'd put solid B.
It's got to be C, isn't it? So, okay.
I'd put them both alongside each other. I'm not going to... If someone goes to me, there's a Pepsi or a Diet Pepsi, I'm not going to look. And I wouldn't care about the difference. I do think there is a difference between regular Coke and Diet Coke that you can taste.
And also, I don't have strong enough opinions on it, to be honest.
The other thing with it is I feel that people don't really mess about with Diet Pepsi. It's Pepsi Max. And Pepsi Max has an elite cult following that would put it probably above Pepsi.
I'd have it on the same. I do like Pepsi Max.
Okay. Well, we're going to put
Pepsis. It's I do find it funny how we've got Coke, Diet Coke, and Coke Zero all in a different tier. Three different.
It does taste different.
I know that people are going to put Pepsi Max above them, so I'm going to preface myself there for it. Iron Brew. I'm going to go for this one next.
Yeah, the only man who lives in Scotland here, I absolutely.
I worked for a Scottish company for a long time, but I think Iron Brew is. I think Iron Brew has. I think it is overrated so much because people go it's underrated. It's in that.
Well, obviously, I lived in Scotland for a while, so doing my studies, so I have to back Iron Brew here. I can't let you just shit on it. Well,
I wouldn't put it in awful, but I'm not putting it. I'm not putting it alongside any of these in B. I can't have that. It's a C level drink, I'd say.
I'm fine with that.
I can accept it. As long as you don't put it in awful, because I can't be having that.
Okay, right. KA, is it KA or I don't know. I don't ever.
I've only ever called it KA.
I see it.
I'm pretty confident it's KA.
I've seen it in every single sort of like newsagent shop that you'd ever see that isn't sort of a franchise owned. It's always there, and I never pick it up. So I've never had it. Have you two had it?
I think I have had a Fruit Punch KA before. But I don't remember what it tasted like. It was like one day back from school. I probably.
It's like, do you remember when you used to go to the chicken shops and you get like a Mirinda? I've had Mirindas. I've never had the KA, so I've never had them before it.
I've had I remember it not being awful, but I don't remember it that well, I'll be honest.
This is going to be the most polarising opposite of opinions right now. I'm just going to bang it out, and I'm going to see your two reactions of where you're going to say.
No.
Yeah.
I mean.
No,
That's the way round I'd have it. Don't get me wrong. I do like the summer fruits one more, but there's no way Oasis is in GOAT, and there's no way citrus isn't awful. Like, citrus Oasis.
I genuinely feel like I'm drinking a cleaning product when I have to have the orange Oasis. The weird aftertaste it leaves.
It's fine. It's not good, but it's fine.
I would pick every single one of them over an Oasis orange.
I think I'd have the Iron Brew, if I'm honest, but I don't like. I firstly, definitely summer fruits GOAT here. Let's agree on that first.
I can't be having that.
Is it you're outvoted, bro?
I would have. Yeah, but the issue is if we're doing like if we're aggregating it, I would have summer fruits in B. I wouldn't. I would choose everything in A over something.
B.
Yeah.
A cold Oasis on a hot day.
Yeah,
and this is the only
refreshing as hell, man.
This Oasis is the only one that in a plastic bottle, and granted they don't do it in others, but in a plastic bottle it still slaps. All these in plastic bottle are terrible, I think.
I'd still happily
hands and gloves
in a plastic bottle, let's be honest.
I don't know.
In fact, do you know what really grinding it is? I think I'd drink everything in B tier over summer fruits Oasis as well. I would put it alongside them, but
that's blasphemous to me, is what that is.
I mean, all those in B tier are good in fairness.
I can't work out what. I've just realised there's another J2O, and I don't know what
that's
the difference is.
That's the apple. I had so many J2Os as a kid, honestly. That's the apple and mango one. Yeah.
Oh, I don't mind that one.
Is that orange and passion fruit? This is the orange and passion fruit.
Probably. It looks more orange than the other one.
I'd have that one at B, but actually I don't think I've ever had. What's apple and what?
Apple and mango, I'm pretty sure it is.
I'm not sure I've even had apple and mango. It sounds nice. It sounds like I'd like
it. It is good.
Now another one here, Lil, R.I.P. Lil. It doesn't exist anymore, I do believe. Right?
No, it doesn't.
It's Fanta grapefruit now, isn't it? Right? I think that's what it's just redone as. But Lilt was nice, but I'm gonna throw it.
I actually used to like Lilt. Yeah, I actually used to like Lilt. Yeah,
I think. Do you know what Lilt is the example of that? It's probably the only one that I preferred in a plastic bottle than I did in a can, which is weird, but I can't explain why. I'll save us all the harm of this conversation. Lipton peach iced tea.
We are iced tea people, though. Are we all iced tea people?
Is the Lipton peach? Because I've got some in my fridge downstairs. Is the Lipton peach iced tea that I drink what every American go? Yeah, get me a sweet iced tea, honey in the diner and everything like that. Is that?
Don't Americans prefer sort of like an Arizona? I like Arizona.
Yeah.
Those ones are pretty banging. They're the ones we got in Germany those times.
Yeah.
Iced tea as a whole, I'd put in GOAT. I don't know if peach Lipton iced tea I'd put in GOAT, but it's one of it. I will say we can't have three drinks in the GOAT tier. That's just.
Do you know what?
That's what we said at the beginning.
Yeah. But, now
if one of them
it
goes,
can't be
I'm
one less than
there. But if
that's
one of them
fine,
goes, I'd put that there. I think these two are the and then Lucasade Original.
Don't like Lucasade Original.
Yeah, Lucasade Original's crap. I can't lie.
And that is the definitive list. There's no argument for it.
Well, we might have to go back over it because Summer Fruits Oasis being in GOAT is a joke. I will say.
No, I'm standing on that hill.
I'm not strongly stance on it, but I do like it quite a bit.
But I think I genuinely. The thing is, would I have it over a Diet Coke? Is tough, but we can't have a thing that looks like that.
I mean, I wouldn't have.
It looked like we're sponsored at that stage.
Yeah, we
I wish we were, in fairness, but you know.
If Oasis ends up watching this and wants to send us free Oasis, then only the Summer Fruit says the citrus one's terrible. But yeah.
No, I can't be having Summer Fruits Oasis and GOAT. That's rubbish. That is rubbish.
Unfortunately,
A's fine. A's fine.
Well, if we concede and put your Dr. Pepper up to GOAT, would you accept it a bit more? Because I feel like your GOATs have been ignored. You know what I mean?
Let's just say I wouldn't have either of Coke or Oasis in GOAT. So
if we've got 3 in Awful and 3 in GOAT, I can live with that, and I can live with the Dr. Pepper being in GOAT here. I can.
I'll tell you what. Do you know what the real problem is? The real problem is there is. If Fanta Lemon was on this, it would be in GOAT for me. That would be my like fizzy or well, still where there's a bunch of them, drink of choice out of all of these would be, and unfortunately it's not here. So
right,
I've had that orangeade from Greece that we had that one time. That'd be
another. We're nearly overlapping the prediction Howard made of this being longer, but we'll settle on that. If you have made it this far and your favourite drink isn't in here, let us know. If there's any of these opinions that you agree with or disagree with, let us know. And also, more importantly, if there's anything on the Sixers stuff that we've done, let us know how you think about those trades when we talked about that. We did get a comment asking for Boston or Philly in this episode, which we've done with Philly. If you have any trade ideas for other teams you want to do, let us know in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. Consider hitting that subscribe button and helping us out. Like the video, comment down below, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.